Welcome back to the channel for a preview of Port Vale's League One game against Reading this Saturday. And if you're like myself, all Vale fans, going into this, given our Carabao Cup victory against Birmingham in the week, we'll be going into this with a fair bit of optimism. If we can carry that form over to Saturday, there's no reason why we can't achieve our first league win of the season. But we will see. If you look over the years in our history when we've played Reading, it's a close record. We've won 24 games against Reading in our history. We've drawn 14 and we've lost 26. So it's a close record. And when I think back over the years to the games that I've seen the Vale play against Reading, three stand out. The first one is the 1978-79 season. And the reason that one stands out, Reading had a cracking season that season. We were both in Division 4, i.e. League 2. Reading were crowned champions that year. We ended up in the bottom half, so a usual forgettable season for us. But the reason that game stands out, the games against Reading stand out, we drew no goals at Reading and we lost 3-0 at home towards the end of the season. But they had a goalkeeper with a strange name, and his name was Steve Death. But Steve Death, the Reading goalkeeper, he is, by many Reading fans, their best goalkeeper they've ever had in their history. He played over 470 times for them, spanning over a 13-year period from 1969 to 1982. So yeah, that was the first Reading game that I can remember going to of note. Then the other two, the first one was in the 93-94 season, and that was Reading away, and that was at their old ground, the old Elm Park. And for the older fans who remember that, compared to the, let's call it the Majeski Stadium or whatever it's called now, it was nothing like that. The old Elm Park was surrounded by terraced houses, very small, very much like what people remember as the old Manor Ground at Oxford. It was a tiny ground. And that season was the season when the Vale won at Brighton to clinch promotion to the Championship. And that season, Reading ended up champions and we ended up coming second, like I say, to get promotion to the Championship. And that was our heaviest defeat in that season against Reading. They battered us at home. They beat us 4-0 at home. I remember Jimmy Quinn scoring for them. But when we went down to Reading, we beat them 2-1 in an all-important game for us getting promotion that season. If I remember rightly, I think it was Robin van der Laan, and I think it was Kevin Kent who scored. But I could be wrong. But it was a cracking victory, 2-1. And then the third one that stands out was the following season. So we both get promoted in the 93-94 season. So we were both in the Championship, 94-95. And the game at Reading, we 3-0 down at half time. Couldn't believe it. And then miraculously, just one of them games, second half, we score 3 and it ends up being 3 each. So another cracking game down at Reading, 3-0 down at half time and end up being 3-3. So yeah, just a few memories of past games against Reading. So what do you think the team's going to be tomorrow? Well, before I go on to that, a couple of players to look out for in the Reading side tomorrow. I think the main one to look out for is Lewis Wing. And when he's played against us, he's always had a cracking game for us. Ex-Wycombe, went to Reading, and he's notorious for scoring worldy goals. If you look at some of the goals he's scored over his career, my goodness, unbelievable. So he's definitely one to look out for. And they signed somebody today. They signed Matt Ritchie, who should be decent still at our level, even though he's 35. Ex-Newcastle, Bournemouth, Portsmouth player. So I would have thought he's going to make his debut tomorrow. And he's somebody we need to keep a close eye on. So what do I think this team's going to be? Well, I think Darren Moore will pick a different team. That's what I'm going to pick. Not a lot, but I think he'll pick a different team. So I think what Darren Moore will pick, I think he'll have Gucci in goal. I think he'll have Mitch Clark as a right wing back. I think he'll play 5-3-2. I think it'll be Kyle John, right-hand side of the three. Cameron Humphreys in the middle. Connor Hall on the left. With a left wing back, Jermaine Headley. And I think in the midfield three, I think he'll go Funzo Ojo. I think he'll go George Byers. And I think he'll go Ben Garrity. Then up front, I think he will go with Mo Fall. And he'll go with the new loan signing from Derby. I think he'll go with that Brown. I think that's what he will do. Now my team's a little bit different. Same 5-3-2. I go Gucci. And then I do the same Clark, John, Humphreys, Hall, Headley. But we've got our chance tomorrow to play our, I think, in my opinion, our best midfield three. Our best midfield three that work as a unit, complement each other. I will pick Funzo Ojo, George Byers, and Ryan Crosdale. In my opinion, that's our best midfield. And up front, I'd have Mo Fall. And what I would do, I'd give him his opportunity that he's never had. Give Rory Payton his opportunity to play in a two up front, which in a Vale shirt, very rarely, if at all, he's had that opportunity to do that. Forget the experiment with Ronan Curtis, playing as a forward, won't work. The loan signing from Derby, integrate him at various times, but I think Rory Payton deserves his opportunity. Given the situation of Lauren Talai being sold, given the situation of Jaden Stockley being injured, he deserves his opportunity, so I hope he gets it tomorrow. So that's my team. So what do you think the score's going to be? Right. Well, this is another one where if you think with your heart, think with your head. My heart says, after Tuesday, my heart says 2-0 victory. But I just can't see it. I just can't see it. So, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be the first victory of the season. I think it's going to be a tight 1-1 draw, which won't be the worst result. But we are desperate for that first victory. So thanks very much for listening. Please like. More importantly, please subscribe. And most importantly, up the Vale.